So, Namaskar and welcome to the Geeta Satsang for today. Let us get started with our Prarthana. By the Guru's grace and the will of Sri Krishna, we have all assembled for this Geeta Satsang. May we have their guidance to be able to learn and adopt the things which will help us to grow spiritually. Let us chant together the shlokas. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranatah Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namostu Te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindaayatapatra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Ramanujadaya Patram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanathaaryam Vande Vedanta Deshikam Yo Nityamachyuta Padambuja Yugma Rugma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmat Guror Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye. So with prayers at the lotus feet of the Acharyas, let us start our discussion for today. So in the last satsang, we had seen up to the 29th shloka, where Krishna was trying to explain and talk to Arjuna about the nature of the Atma. So now in the next shloka, in the 30th shloka, he continues, and this is like, this shloka is said to be like a summary of whatever he had told about the nature of the Atma in the previous few shlokas, right? We saw that how he first, Krishna tried to explain that the Atma is Nitya and all those things. And then he took, let us say, the viewpoint that Atma and Deha, Atma and Sharira are not different. Still, why he should not be grieving and lamenting. He had tried to explain that. So now in the 30th shloka, Lord Krishna has kind of summed up that whatever he said in all the previous thing, and again, once more emphasized that Arjuna, he should not grieve for this reason. So this 30th shloka, it is saying, Dehi nityam avadyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitumarhasi. So it says, O Arjuna, the soul which dwells within the body is immortal. Therefore, you should not mourn for anyone. So that's why we said that this is like a summary of whatever he has told so far. In one sentence, Krishna is emphasizing the eternal nature of the Atma. So what is this Dehi? So Dehi is the person who is existing or who is living inside the Deha. So since the Atma, this Jivatma, has taken residence within this particular Deha, that Atma is what is referred to as Dehi. So that Dehi is Nitya, that Atma is eternal. Now we can assume here that maybe Arjuna has a doubt that is this thing of Nitya nature of the Atma, is it for all Atmas? Or maybe there are some Atmas which are, they may get destroyed and some others will not. Is there some difference like that? So then Krishna answers his doubt, unspoken doubt, by saying that all Atmas are eternal. There is absolutely no difference between one Atma and the other Atma. Whatever differences we see in this world are differences only with respect to the body. And therefore, you don't worry about the death of anyone, any person, whether it is this person, that person, whatever it may be. All the Atmas are eternal. So all of them are not going to get destroyed. The Sharira will get destroyed, but the Atma will not get destroyed. Now, this is what the Acharyas say, that only when somebody gets this kind of a adhyatmik drishtikon, this kind of a spiritual viewpoint, then at that time, the people are able to actually see equality. Because otherwise, when we look at the body, we look at all of us, like say our relatives, our family members, or people who are other than our family, any human being you look at, you're always going to observe that they are different from each other, isn't it? So there are some people who are tall, some who are short, some who are fat, some who are thin, some people may be fair, some may be dark, some people may be very healthy, some may be in poor health, some may be very rich, some will be poor, right? Some will be very gunavan, they will be very virtuous in character, others may not be so much. So like this, when we see um, whether it is the nature of the person or it is the sharira of the person, in that we can see a lot of differences. But if you come to the ultimate fact that inside every sharira, inside every deha, there is a dehi, there is an atma. Then that atma, there is no difference among all these people. Physically, they may be different. Emotionally, their responses may be different. Their attitudes may be different. But the atmas in all of them are actually of the same nature. Now, how a particular person behaves and goes through their life depends on their vasanas, on whatever samskaras are there in their chitta. So that will determine. Then their prarabdha, their karma, all those things will, their punya papa, how much account they are having, all that may be different. But the nature, by its very nature, the atma in all of them is jnanamaya. That is the essence of every atma. And the Swarupa of that Atma is that it is Nitya, it is eternal. So in this aspect, there is absolutely no difference between Atmas. So if we learn to look at people around us from the viewpoint that this is also an Atma, and this Atma is also an Amsha of the Paramatma, then we will learn to look at all people with equality. So in this shloka, whatever Krishna is telling, that all Atmas are same. So from that, what we can try to take the learning is that we always have this tendency to differentiate among people. And in fact, we feel that this person is my person. This is not my person. We have attachment for some people. We get angry with other people. We feel affectionate towards some people. We may feel dvesha for other people. So whatever it is, if we learn to look at every individual through the lens of that is also an Atma, this is also an Atma, within me also Atma, and all our Atmas are basically the same. They are all Nitya, they are all eternal. Then when we look at that aspect, we will learn to stop differentiating among people. We will learn to treat everybody nicely. We will learn to behave with everyone in a manner which is good. And that is going to be good for our sadhana also. So that is why we must keep reminding ourselves of this nature of the Atma. Not only of the eternal nature of the Atma, but of the equality in all these Atmas. The fact that there is no difference among all the Jivatmas. The Sharira may be different, but the Atma is one in its nature. So this is what we can try to imbibe the message from this particular shloka. In the shloka, Lord is trying to tell Arjuna that the soul which is there within the Deha is immortal. So you don't mourn for anybody. He is again now coming to this conclusion and telling Arjuna very clearly, because Arjuna has been lamenting. So that is the thing which Krishna is telling. And for us, the lesson is that we remember this fact that not only Atma is Nitya, but all Atmas are also equal. So there is no question of seeing differences and discriminating among people around us. That we can learn. Now we move on to the next shloka, in the 31st shloka. In fact, from this 31 to 34th shloka, Krishna is going to try and explain to Arjuna why it is his dharma as a Kshatriya to fight in this dharmayuddha. Now that is what is the entire confusion of Arjuna, isn't it? He has said to Krishna that I don't know what to do. You have to guide me. I don't want to fight. And that attitude of not wanting to fight is totally against the Kshatriya spirit. So Krishna is now going to try and explain to Arjuna in the next few shlokas about why it is his duty to fight. So in the 31st shloka, Krishna continues, he is speaking. Swadharmamapi chavekshya navikampitumar dharmarthi yuddhat shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. So he's saying, as a warrior, as a kshatriya, your dharma, swadharma means whatever is the dharma for a particular varna, for a particular category of people. We will come to that later. What is the meaning of varna and how today people have diluted that meaning. So as a kshatriya, your duty is that you should not waver, you should not fluctuate, your mind should not move this side, that side. For a warrior, there is no better engagement than fighting for upholding righteousness. So this is a dharmayuddha. As a kshatriya, you should be happy that you got an opportunity to fight in this dharmayuddha. And that is the path for you to attain moksha. There is no better way out for you. He is explaining. Now, in this shloka, if we see, so as I said, from this 31st to 34th shloka, Krishna will explain to Arjuna that as a kshatriya, what is dharma for you, what is adharma for you. And that explanation will continue. Now, in this 31st shloka, we will see what is it that Krishna is explaining. Now, there are many people who quote this shloka, and because Lord has said, no, there is nothing better for you to do than to fight in the dharma yuddha. So there are people who say, they, use this in a wrong context. And they try to present it as if Krishna is trying to instigate a war. He is instigating Arjuna to fight. When Arjuna doesn't want to fight, Arjuna wants to be on the path of ahimsa. It is Krishna who is instigating him to do himsa. And there are people who say that because of this reason, see your Bhagavad Gita, it is not a text which preaches about peace. It is a text which preaches violence, which instigates people to fight. Okay, so this is an argument that people give sometimes. Now, what we need to understand is that this is not Krishna instigating Arjuna to fight. Krishna is, in fact, simply explaining that what is this concept of moksha, what is the right dharma to be done, how that dharma is based on varna. Later on in the further parts, in the 4th chapter, in the other chapters, Krishna is going to elaborate on this, that what is this concept of varna. For us, we need to understand. Now we know we talk of people who are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, right? Now we say these are the 4 varnas. Actually, they are varna, and that varna is divided based on the guna of a person, the qualities of a person, and on their karma, on the type of actions that they perform. Now, there are many people who say that this, what we are talking about, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, it is, people look at it from the viewpoint of jati or caste. And they say, your Bhagavad Gita is teaching caste system. Now, the Lord later in the Bhagavad Gita, he will explain that how this varna was created by the Lord to establish and maintain a particular system in society. And all people followed a particular varna, and which varna they belong to is on the basis of what is the guna that they have and what are the karmas that they perform. Now, the Lord created only these 4 varnas, but who was it that created multiple divisions within these? That is us only. Now, today, if you look at any kind of a government form or something that you have to fill up, people have so many caste categories there. Who created that? It was not the Lord who created that, because those were created by human beings, by our people, by politicians, for their own vested interests. But what the Lord created was varna. And that varna was based on what were the particular tendencies of an individual. So, Brahmana Varna, people who belong to the Brahmana Varna, who are these people? They are the people whose role is Adhyayana and Adhyapana. People who will gain knowledge of the Shastras, people who will spread that knowledge, teach it to other people. Kshatriyas were the category of people whose role was to fight and protect the people in the particular kingdom. The Vaishyas were the ones who would engage in commerce and trade, earn money by righteous means, and use it for taking care of the Brahmanas. And the Shudras were the ones whose capacity was to do physical labor, who were very physically strong. So their role was to perform physical service. So in this way, when there is a division of the roles, division of the activities, and never there was a what you say prejudice that one particular varna is more superior to the other. It is just like if you need to have a what you say bullock cart has to move, then the four wheels of that bullock cart have to move together. Only then the bullock cart will move. If even one of those wheels is broken or damaged, there is no question of the cart moving safely. Similarly, all the four varnas perform whatever is their role in society, and then that society progresses ahead. So the concept of what is the dharma of an individual is based on what varna he belongs to. So as I said, for somebody who is belonging to the Brahmana varna, their role is to study the Shastras. They should not involve in earning money. That is what the Shastras say. And they should eat only that which they obtain by begging alms once in a day. The Kshatriya's role is to engage in warfare for the sake of protecting society. The Vaishyas should earn and earn by righteous means and offer that whatever they have earned by righteous means for the Lord's cause. And similarly, the Shudras are supposed to do service to the Lord ultimately based on what is their physical capacity. So for a Kshatriya, that means the dharma is to fight in the dharmayuddha. And that is the path which will take the Kshatriya to moksha. For a Kshatriya, it is not advised to take sannyasa. For a Kshatriya, he is not advised to do tapascharya and, go in that path. For him, the path to attain moksha is to fight in the dharmayuddha. That is his dharma. And when he does that, only he has achieved his purpose of life. So if this is the thing, then naturally now, because Krishna is explaining all this Upadesha, this Geeta Upadesha, was done to whom? It was done to Arjuna. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. So because he is a Kshatriya, Krishna is advising about fighting. Now, if this same Upadesha had been done to somebody who was from the Brahmana category or somebody who was from the Shudra category, the advice would have been totally different. Now, because Arjuna is a Kshatriya and Krishna is telling him what is your role as per your Kshatriya dharma, what you should be doing. So that is why it is here that Krishna is explaining why he should fight. So we cannot say that Krishna is instigating Arjuna to fight. Bhagavad Gita is preaching that people should get violent. No. What a person should do, what he should not do is told in the Shastras. The dharma guidelines explain that. So when somebody lives as per those guidelines, then not only in this life they have happiness, but they also go further on the spiritual path, and at the end of their life, at some point of time, they will get moksha. So that is why it is important to do whatever actions one has to do as per the varna to which they belong. Now, in present times, what has happened is there has been a lot of admixture which has taken place between these varnas. So no longer we see anybody who is purely following the actions of a particular varna. Maybe somebody is born into a Brahmin family, but we have seen now it is not that all the Brahmins are living on alms by begging from somebody else, isn't it? They are going out to work, they are earning money. In fact, they may not be able to give time for adhyayana and adhyapana. There is hardly any spiritual knowledge that they are gaining. They are not explaining to anybody in many cases, right? So a lot of changes have taken place. There are many people who may be by their varna, they may be belonging to Vaishya category or Kshatriya or Shudra, but those are the people who are involved in study of the Shastras. So all kinds of changes have taken place in the present times. So that is why it is like every individual in a day, he performs actions of all the varnas. When I clean myself and my body and I do some cleaning in the house or in the temple, I am doing a Shudra varna action. When I earn money and I offer it for a good cause, I am doing Vaishya's actions. When I fight against some injustice which is taking place, I am doing actions like a Kshatriya. And when I involve myself in gaining knowledge and explaining that to somebody else, then I am being a Brahmana. So that part is different. Now, we are not going to be concerned about that from our satsang, Geeta satsang point of view. what we need to understand here is that as Arjuna is a Kshatriya and Gitopadesha was done to him, so Krishna advised him that his duty is to fight. So that is what is sought to be explained here. So when people say this Yuddha, this fight, okay, he was a Kshatriya, so you are telling him to fight. But in the Sanatan Dharma only, there is a great principle of ahimsa, isn't it? So how this concept of Yuddha can be correlated with the concept of ahimsa? Aren't they contradictory terms? That is a question that many people ask us. In fact, people will point out this when they want to make fun of Sanatana Dharma also. So we need to understand that this whole concept, this whole idea of himsa and ahimsa, it is subjective. It depends on the circumstances. Like, for example, the acharyas explain that suppose there is a woman who is pregnant and she has to give birth to the child. Okay. So in the process of childbirth, she is going to undergo a lot of pain. So when that doctor is making her go through that pain, he is inflicting himsa on her. So will we tell that, no, 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 don't do that, don't give her pain, let her not undergo pain? No, we don't say that because we know that only after going through that pain, the baby will be born. Similarly, if there is a surgeon who has to do an operation on a patient, now can that surgeon at the last moment say that, oh, this surgery, this is cutting up that person, this is hurting that person, so it is himsa. I am a believer in ahimsa, so I will not do this surgery. Can he do that? No, because if he does not do that action, that patient is going to suffer and maybe even die. So this whole idea of what is himsa and ahimsa, how should we view that to make out whether some particular action falls under the category of violence or non-violence? What is the yardstick that we are going to use? So in his Geeta Bhashyam, Geeta Bhashyam is the text, is the commentary written by Swami Ramanujacharya to explain the shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita. So there, at this point of time, Swami Ramanujacharya explains that whether a given action results, like during that action, whether there is pleasure or there is pain, that is immaterial. That does not matter. But what matters is what is going to be the outcome of that action. What is the long-term effect which happens because of that action? That is what we have to consider. So during the action, when we are doing something, is that going to give us pleasure or it is going to give us pain? We should not bother about that. So again, coming back to those examples that we talked about, if a woman is going through labor pain, now when we only look at that pain, we will say, oh, it is himsa. But when you look at the outcome of that action, by going through that pain, what is going to happen? The baby is going to be delivered, and that is going to lead to a good outcome. So that outcome is what matters. The surgeon who is going to operate on a patient, he is operating. So at that time, he is cutting, there may be blood loss, there will be pain on for the patient. All that is one side. But what is the outcome of that? Because of the surgery, the patient is going to survive and live a better life. So what we need to look at is not whether there is pleasure or pain at a particular time when you are doing that action. What you need to look at is the long-term effects of those actions. Now, fighting in the dharmayuddha, it will give swarga or it will give moksha based on the qualities of the person. To those, whoever is fighting in that battle, and if they lose their life, they will get swarga. Some of them may get moksha also. So now we look from the same lens that what is the outcome now of that dharma yuddha? It is a good outcome. A person who was living on this bhuloka has progressed to the higher level. He has gone to swarga or he has got moksha from the cycle of birth and death. So that then when the outcome is good, do we call this himsa or we call it ahimsa? Of course, it comes under the category of ahimsa. So here, this battle is not just any ordinary battle which is for material gain. It is a battle which is to uphold the principles of dharma. So when dharma samsthapana is the aim of this battle, then it is a dharma yuddha. So Krishna is trying to explain to Arjuna that because this is a dharma yuddha, you are fighting in this dharma yuddha. So because you are fighting in this dharma yuddha, the outcome is what is important to you. So it is your duty as a Kshatriya to fight for this dharma, to ensure that dharma is continued. you have to fight. So there is no better engagement for you. There is no better action that you can perform other than this dharmayuddha. And from this point of view, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that he should keep his mind firm and not get swayed by the emotions. Okay? So how we can adopt this in our life, or what value this teaching has for us? So we must take this point that even if we have to experience pleasure or pain during a particular action, generally when some action is pleasurable, we are not bothered about it. We only worry about things which cause us pain, right? We must use that, like this guideline should be there for us. We have some difficulty. Now, when I have this difficulty, I need to take some actions. Now, by taking those actions, it is going to cause me some harm, it is going to cause pain to me. I will feel bad, or I will be hurt, or maybe somebody close to me is going to feel hurt. But what is the purpose of that? By doing that particular action, even if there is short-term pain, if the long-term effect is going to be a good one, then we must do that knowing that it is our dharma. But again, here we need to understand that we have to use viveka. We have to use our judgment. I cannot do something which is for my selfish interest, which is going to be doing good to me. The outcome for me will be good, but outcome for everybody else will be bad. And I will say, oh, the Bhagavad Gita has told, and I will do. Not like that. What is good for everybody, that is what has to be considered as the outcome. So in order to do that, to ensure that there is good for everybody, for at least a majority of people, to do that, if I have to take some actions which are temporarily going to cause some pain, then I have to overcome that, or I have to ignore that, and I must focus my mind on the outcome, and then it will no longer be himsa. Even that will count as ahimsa. So that we can use. Sometimes we have to take some tough decisions. We have to be like, maybe sometimes parents have to be strict with their children. There are times when we have to discipline ourselves and prevent our mind from wavering here and there. There are times when we have to be disciplined about our diet. There are times when we have to be, cultivate some discipline about what we are going to speak to whom. Then in all these situations, we need to keep our mind fixed on what is going to be the outcome of this action. Even if now I have to undergo some pain, it is okay. I will bear it, because the outcome is going to be something which is worth it. So that is the kind of message that we can learn from this shloka. So these two shlokas that we have discussed for today, we will stop here for now. And in the next satsang, we will continue with the remaining shlokas. Krishna is going to explain further about how, in this same line of thought, that as a Kshatriya, it is Arjuna's duty to fight. So we will take those subsequent shlokas in the next week's satsang. So for now, we will stop here by offering Kritagnyata. Let us offer gratitude, Kritagnyata, at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna and Guru for inspiring us to start and join this satsang. And let us pray for their blessings and grace to always be on us. Thank you everybody for joining in, although it was late and there was so much confusion about the timing. Thank you very much for joining in, and we will meet next time. Namaskar.